Hello, YouTube. We have artifact smuggling and tax avoidance. Hobby Lobby from the Fat Files. So you know what? Let's just hop into this and see what he's got.
All right, here's the deal. My wife dragged me into a Hobby Lobby, and I was in that store for all of about 30 seconds before I knew they were up to something. So I go home, I look into it, and what I found is so insane. I wasn't even mad. I was just impressed.
Okay.
All right, look.
Okay. Wait. I don't think Hobby Lobby exists here, but okay. What would a hobby store have?
If you don't know, Hobby Lobby is the biggest arts and crafts chain in the United States. Technically, Michael's has more locations, but
yeah, we have Michael's here. That was a horrible pause for him. Yeah, we have a Michael's here. That's all I know. I think we had a Hobby Lobby at one point. I don't remember. Like,
Hobby Lobby makes way more money, so I'm calling them the biggest. Last year, they made $7.9 billion selling knickknacks and arts and crafts supplies. On top of that, they pay their employees $19.25 an hour minimum wage. On top,
$19.25 for minimum wage. Damn. Am I in the wrong field? Am I supposed to be working at a hobby store?
for that, they donate 50% of their profits to charity, and then if you Google them, you find out they've been involved in more high-profile scandals than a Kennedy family reunion, including smuggling religious artifacts into the United States and somehow turning them into a massive tax write-off.
Why is the rich like this? I'm not just the rich, but I mean, like, why?
And we're gonna get into all of it right after word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Supremacy World War III, a free online PvP military-based strategy game. It's based on a World War III type scenario where you can pick your country or you can pick a...
Looks like a mobile game, but at the same time, I'm not interested in a World War III thing.
State inside of the United States because...
Hold on, wait. I'm just looking at the units. Can't tell if a submarine or a big fish. Probably a submarine. Wait. Does Quebec and Ontario have mobile missile launchers? Same with Wyoming and...
Well, let's face it, that's the only way it's going to be fair to everybody else. We just saw what Missouri did to Iran. Now, personally, I like to start off playing as Iowa for obvious reasons. Sometimes I like to attack Minnesota right out of the gate, turn them into Upper Iowa. Sometimes I like to attack Nebraska so I can prove once and for all that our corn is better. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Why don't you attack Missouri? Well, for
microphone,
reasons,
stop picking up shit. Sorry about this.
And I don't want the smoke. I'm going to fight it eventually, but I need some time to build up my army with tanks, jets, and nuclear subs.
Yeah.
So if you want to give Supremacy World War III a
it's
try,
a slight
free,
breeze.
on PC and mobile. If you use my link and discount code down below, you're going to get a bunch of extra freebies. Let's get back to the video. All right, we're just going to take this from the top. Let me set the scene for you so we can go on this voyage together. Wife drags me to a place called Hobby Lobby. It's in what appears to be an abandoned Kmart. We take 2 steps inside the...
Abandoned Kmart? We had Kmart here too. Did the whole Kmart franchise just die? Like, I don't know, because I knew it left Canada at one point, and I don't know if... And Zellers kind of took over where it used to be here, and now that Zellers has completely been Bodo's too, so... Hell, Zellers doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think either. Holy shit. Hold on, that's a different tangent for another day.
Door, and in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is clearly the knick-knack / gift shop area.
Hold on, I want stuff. Live a creative life, gift cards. I'm a sucker when it comes to craft stores because I like to tinker. May not seem like it, but I like to. Yeah, it probably itches the ADHD part of my brain.
Of the store. They've done what a lot of other places do, like Cracker Barrel, museums, tourist attractions.
Look at those Coke bottles. What is that one up there? Happy Mother's Day and birth. I can't be mad. I kind of like them.
They have the little gift shop knick-knack area right by the doors so they can upsell you on the way in and the way out. That makes sense to me. Never really seen it in a department store, so that's kind of unique, but whatever. So we continue.
Doesn't every store have stuff now at the entrance and the exit now to get you to buy more?
Walking through the store, and I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, this knick-knack gift shop area is enormous. And then we keep walking. And we keep walking, and the knickknacks just never fucking end. They're everywhere. And then it dawns on me, the entire abandoned Kmart I'm inside of is one giant gift shop. At this point, the logical side of my brain is like, there's absolutely no way. So I start picking up the pace. I walk every aisle. I walk the entire store, progressively going into more and more.
I don't even know what this scene is from with this guy looking up, but I've just seen this GIF everywhere.
of an existential crisis, because there's absolutely no way that an abandoned Kmart full of knickknacks is a profitable business. But that's it. It's the whole thing. It's just...
I'm trying to think, what did they put in our old Kmart before Zealous? There was something else there for like a short period of time, and it did not last long. It was like almost like a junk store, almost. Like it was just like an odds and ends store, and then eventually Zellers came in. Oh man, we used to have Byway and some other stuff here too. I'm starting to remember stores we had in this area just alone growing up. They're all gone.
It's nothing but knickknacks. So I just stop in the middle of an aisle, I pull out my phone, I Google, how much money does Hobby Lobby make annually? $7.9 billion last
Wait. Okay, I'm not good at the math part, but that's
year. There's no fucking way.
That's insane.
I've walked the entire store at this point. It's just knickknacks and arts and craft supplies. That's it. The entire store is literally an elderly woman throwing the world's biggest garage sale inside of an abandoned Kmart, and somehow they're making a shit ton of money. At this
Okay, not gonna lie, I probably would. Any store that's a big store like that, and it's just specializing in one thing, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go through and I'm probably gonna find something like, yeah, I can use that. I don't really need it, but I can use it. I could find a use for that kind of thing.
point, I'm thinking like, okay, they're selling drugs out the back door or something. There's no way to logically explain this. So I get back together with my wife. She's got all the knickknacks and shit.
Is this where the laundry comes
in? We go
in?
into checkout, and I'm standing in this checkout longer than I'm standing at the DMV. There's like 3 people in front of me. It takes fucking forever to get through this checkout line. So I asked...
That's like us at our local grocery store here. It may be cheap, but it's slow because it's outdated. They're still doing the grocery checkout system like it's 1950. By that I mean the conveyor belts that you put your food on is tiny, whereas places like Costco here, they have someone take your stuff out of your cart, put it on, and ring it through for you, put it back in the cart, so there's no like congestion. I kind of like that system, not gonna lie. It also gives people more jobs, so...
My wife, I'm like, what is taking so long? I don't understand. She's like, oh, Hobby Lobby always takes forever to check out at because they don't use barcodes. They have to type everything in by hand.
Okay, at least our places have barcodes. At least.
9
THD03.
T
Okay, now at this point, I'm having a full-blown panic attack because I know that barcodes came out in the late 1940s because they were inspired by Morse code, and some dude that worked on the Manhattan Project invented them right after World War II. And
Wait. What? Someone who worked on the Manhattan Project invented the barcode. Huh? I just learned something and it kind of blew my mind.
now it's 2025 and we're not using them inside of the store. There's no fucking way. I am 99% sure I died in a car wreck on the way to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah,
And now I'm stuck in knick-knack purgatory. Okay, then I take a deep breath and I'm like,
Knick-knack
okay,
purgatory.
I think I'm alive. Okay, there's got to be an explanation for this. And I'm like, oh, obviously they're selling drugs out of the back, so it makes sense that they want to make checking out at this store as difficult as possible because they don't actually want to sell any of the fucking knickknacks because that's not how they make money. They make money off selling all the nose torque out of the back, right? So they're not going to want to sell the knickknacks, so that's why they make it as difficult as possible. Okay.
This sounds like me when I'm reacting to TV shows now. It's just like, okay, what's the plot? What's going on here? Like, there's clearly something's off, and I say, oh, no, maybe not. Maybe they're just, maybe?
It's got to be what's going on. So I finally get to check out. Very nice elderly woman there being my cashier. She's very polite. She's very friendly. I start full on interrogating this woman. I'm polite about it, but I'm like, do you like working here?
I'm like, okay, what kind of drugs do you sell here, ma'am?
She's like, actually, I love working there. I've been here for fucking like 20 years. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm like, well, what do you like about it? And she's like, well, they pay us a lot of money for how hard the job is. So I like it. We get good benefits. The company donates 50% of its profit to charity. And
The only problem with a lot of charities I see, sorry for the pause there, bear up terrible for me. I see a lot of times though that charity money tends to get like, it's like used as a tax write-off kind of thing, and it's kind of like, or some sort of tax bullshit. Like I don't do my taxes. I'd pay somebody else to do it for me.
I'm like, okay.
So don't
they're
come
not
at me for
selling
that.
drugs here. That's weird. And I'm like, do you mind me asking, like, how much do they pay you guys? And she's like, well, I've been here for 20 years. I make more than a lot of people here. But our starting salary is $19.25 an hour is our minimum wage here.
The minimum wage here is like what? I think $17 or some shit like that. Like $17.50 or something.
The fuck out of here. Yeah, no, I'm serious too.
Okay, now I'm completely flabbergasted. I'm now absolutely positive that I did die in a car wreck on the way here, and I am in fact stuck in purgatory. And she finishes checking out. I pay for my stuff.
Hold on. What is the standard minimum wage in America? Like, I'm pretty sure it might vary state to state. I don't know. I don't know anything about America besides, what I've been taught, which isn't a lot because Canada.
And I was like, am I allowed to leave? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, if I walk out that door right now, it's not just going to turn into me walking back in, is it? And she just looks at me like I'm crazy because I fucking am at this point. And she's like, no. And then I walk out, I get in my car, and I fucking go home.
Are you okay, sir? Did you just find the back rooms of fucking knickknacks? Like, that'd be an interesting game. That would be an interesting game right there. Getting the back rooms, but it's a store, like a specific store. Has that been done? Come on, someone's gotta have done that. Chapter 2.
All right, so here's what happened. 1970, the founder of Hobby Lobby, David Green,
So it's only the 70s? I thought they were older. Interesting.
took out a $600 loan and started making custom picture frames in his garage. And apparently that business went pretty well because by 1972, he opened up a 300 square foot arts and crafts store in Oklahoma City. And then 2 years later, he opens up another one, and then another one, and another one. And the next thing you know, he's got 1,000 arts and crafts stores all over the United States
cool.
of America.
Okay.
How is that even possible? Well, in Oklahoma in the 1970s, when he was getting started, there was a humongous oil boom, and that's where like the oil industry's
Sorry, I just noticed in the bottom left of YouTube, because flashy things catch my eye. Sorry for the terrible pause frame again. It shows his store, which is cool, because
primarily located is Oklahoma and Texas, so everybody that was living in that area had a bunch of excess money, so all the housewives and stuff were going and buying a bunch of arts and crafts and a bunch of fucking knickknacks, and it just made his business explode with the oil boom. And
I keep getting the wrong frames. But anyways, my grandmother had a crap load of knickknacks. Like, we lived in a very old house that had like door trims with actual like frames and like crowns and whatnot. And on top of these door frames, almost every door frame in the house had knickknacks. Now, my great grandmother, on the other hand, she had knickknacks in glass cases and stuff. She had all kinds of oddities.
now, hindsight being 2020, when I'm
So-
not actively surrounded by all the knickknacks and arts and crafts, you're able to step back and actually analyze it, and the business model does really work because they're knickknacks, they're arts and crafts. They never go bad, right? Like, it's not like a perishable item at a grocery store that, like, I need to sell this by this time frame. Like, no, if I don't sell all the Christmas stuff this year, I'm just going to throw it in a box in the back and I'll pull it back out next Christmas season. We'll sell it then. So he really doesn't have anything going bad. He has
Kind of reminds me of, sorry, I am pausing a lot, and I know, happens. When we did elementary school, this is going to show my freaking age, but when we had elementary schools around the holidays, we would also basically just pour out the arts and crafts and stuff. I still have a box of some of the old stuff I made from back then. Still goes on the tree. But the fact of the matter is, it never went bad. I still have the stuff. It's like 40 years old now, but I still have it.
no overhead as far as I'm going to lose this if I can't sell it right away. On top of that, I was correct. It was an abandoned Kmart. They literally go and seek out abandoned department stores to
Just like Spirit of Halloween. Those things crop up here all the time in abandoned
put
stores.
Hobby Lobbies inside of to cut costs and
But not
overhead.
permanently. Ah!
Just got real.
Okay, we're not picking up on a book now. It's
I just called it not pre-watched, by the way.
actually the simplest business model on the planet. They just import a bunch of cheap shit from China, mark it up 10x, throw it on the shelf for a month. If it doesn't sell, they slap a 40% off poster on that entire shelf. Then people think they're saving money. They swoop in, they buy it all up, they assemble the arts and crafts themselves, and they sell it on Etsy. It's basically the spawn point for Etsy.
Yeah, Etsy now, unfortunately, is like plagued of all kinds of crap, unfortunately. I think they're trying to crack down on AI crap now, too. Which, you know, I don't know. Like Etsy, I thought was the whole spiel was supposed to be homemade, but I don't know anymore. Homemade or antique or vintage kind of thing. I don't even know anymore. Like, the internet's a weird beast. These online stores are weird beasts, too.
Essentially. It's just the chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A concept. They picked one thing they want to be good at, they became the best in the world at it. Okay, David Green is the Michael Jordan of selling arts and crafts and knickknacks. That's all there is to it. So how on earth did he do it? This is the crazy part. Nobody knows, including him.
Wait, what? It was just an accident?
No clue.
I literally read his entire book. It's called Leadership Not by the Book. And essentially, David Green is a super, super religious Christian man. He's literally the son of a preacher. And he basically says that Hobby Lobby is owned by God. He's just looking out for it. So whenever he has a big business decision to make.
Well, I mean, if it's, there's a lot of these things that start up in a small town or whatever, or like, I know the churches here when I was growing up used to always contribute to, like, they would have hobby fairs and whatnot at my old schools. Even after my old school closed down, they would still rent out the gym there once in a while. Like years after the fact, it was shut down and the building wasn't demolished. It was bought by someone else. Even though that's a historical landmark, that's a whole other can of worms, whatever. But anyways, the fact of the matter was the churches would come in and they would have a bunch of crafts and stuff for sale too. Like, there's also some other parks and stuff that have people that do selling stuff, but a lot of times it's like, you're asking an awful lot of money for something that I know is a piece of junk sometimes.
He prays about it and waits for God to tell him what to do, and then he does it, and somehow it always works out. Like, the dude is literally just running Hobby Lobby off of vibes, and it's working. It's literally either got to be divine intervention, or he's the luckiest man in the history of the planet. Now, his religious convictions are also what drove him to do what I would deem as a lot of pretty good stuff, like giving all of his employees a $19.25 an hour minimum wage and benefits.
Wait, when was he given that kind of money? Like, at what year? Was it now, or, like, was he paying them really good back in the day, too? Now I'm just curious.
Also donate 50% of their annual profits to charity, which at face value is just good in general, but also if you're working at that company making well above industry standard for being a cashier or a retail worker, and then you also get the added benefit of knowing that, like, hey, my company's making a bunch of money off my back, but a lot of that money's going back into charity. I'm doing some good in the world. So it's just good for the...
So how's the cup... Sorry for the bad... I hit every shit frame for this one. Now I have to wonder, how the hell is a company turning profit if it's giving... Okay, it's got to pay its people, but it's also giving away 50% of its earnings. So how's this thing afloat? That's what I want to know.
The overall culture of the company. And then, of course, they're closed on Sunday, which, regardless of whether you're religious or not, if you work
That's
in retail,
fine.
you know you're always working weekends, so it's nice for the retail work.
Yeah, having a weekend off or just knowing you have a guaranteed day off is always good too.
To get a weekend day off, to get the same day off as the rest of society.
Controversies, all right.
Now, those same
What do we
religious
got?
convictions also get him in a bunch of trouble because they've had a ton of controversies. And I'm going to be honest with you, the vast majority of them, in my opinion, are a gigantic nothing burger. They're basically people looking for reasons to get upset.
You
You mean like most of X now, basically there?
everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
So
Except for
that's
that
where
time they
it's
got busted for
from. That's where it's from. I've never seen any of the MCU movies. I apologize. Because I've seen the still picture meme. And it's just... I've seen the still picture memes with that dialogue, but it's just like, I've never known what it's from. I apologize, but it's like, the MCU is so big now, I could not get into that even if I wanted to now.
smuggling artifacts. That one was legit, but we'll get there.
Wait,
we'll just
wait.
gloss over the other ones real quick. They got busted because they weren't selling enough Hanukkah stuff at their Christian arts and crafts store, which...
What?
Okay, like I'm willing to bet they weren't selling a lot of Muslim holiday stuff at the Christian arts and crafts store either. I don't go to Burger King and get mad they don't have fucking pizza. Like,
Yeah, exactly. With the nothing burger
You're
statement
looking
now.
for reasons to get upset. Okay, it's 2025. If a store doesn't have what you want, get on Amazon and order it. It'll be there tomorrow. Why
Usually,
are you picking
yeah.
fights for no reason? Next thing, they got in trouble over women's contraceptive with their insurance, and they actually took this case all the way to the Supreme Court. Like, David Green was willing to let Hobby Lobby go bankrupt and close all of them over this fight. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing, but part of me is always going to respect a man that's willing to put his balls on the line for what he believes in. So here's what happened. The birth control controversy gets played off like Hobby Lobby wasn't willing to pay for birth control with their insurance for
Wait, Hobby Lobby is selling birth control?
any of its female employees. That's
Oh.
a partial truth. The actual truth is they weren't willing to pay for the morning after pill or the week after pill. All the other birth control was fine. Which, regardless of how you feel about it, that's on brand for an evangelical Christian. And whether that's right or not, I don't really have any strong convictions on, but I will say this, it seems very silly to take that court case all the way to the Supreme Court, spending millions and millions of dollars fighting for the right to force him to buy the morning after pill.
It just sounds like a lot of bullshit that this guy had to go through.
When the morning after pill is $10 fucking dollars. You could have taken all the millions you spent trying to sue him into submission and bought every employee at Hobby Lobby 50 fucking morning after pills and gave it to him for free and just solved the fucking problem. And that's the majority of the
Jeez.
controversies. They're all just culture war nonsense issues. But then we get to the religious artifact smuggling.
Collectors. I want to know if I've heard of this or not, so we're gonna see.
All right, so before we get into this, I got to give you guys some background on like tax law and tax code, just so we're all on the same page.
Okay,
Some of
thank
this
you.
is going to be a review for
I'm
a lot of you
stupid.
guys, but some of this is just misconceptions that people have. Okay, so first thing we have to understand is what is a tax write-off, because a lot of
Yes.
people think they understand it, they actually don't.
It's when
I will freely admit I don't understand anything when it comes to taxes, Canadian or American. Only that, what is it? Only that there's something about earnings and stuff that I know that, you know, America's like, what, almost like 40-50% of your earnings? I don't know, but I don't freaking know. Like I said, I don't know.
you buy something for your business and the government pays you back for it.
Oh, and who pays for it?
Nobody. You write it off.
People hear tax write-off and they think, oh, that's money that they save right out of the gate. That's not really how that works. So I'm just going to give you a real-life example to clear it up, okay? Hypothetically speaking, say that I make $100,000 a year and I donate $1,000 to charity, okay? People seem to have the conception that now I have to pay $1,000 less in taxes. That's not how that works. So you didn't actually save $1,000, you saved $400 and donated $600. Now it's like normal people doing charitable donation type stuff, but when rich people like billionaires and big companies, they have ways of getting tax write-offs that actually make them money. The most notorious and most famous is the fine art method, okay? So if a company like Hobby Lobby, hypothetically speaking, comes along and wants to invest in some fine art, say they go to a fancy
Is this just gonna be fancy, smancy money laundering, basically?
New York Art Gallery and they buy a painting for $100,000 and they sit on it for 5 years. And then 5 years later, they hire some fancy art appraiser to come in and appraise this piece of art. And the art appraiser comes in and says, oh my God, this thing's absolutely brilliant. I think it's worth $20 million. Then the company can donate that artwork to a museum and their tax write-off is not for the $100,000 they spent on the painting. The tax write-off is for the $20 million that it's appraised at. So
That's busted. That's like a fucking loophole that needs to be patched. It's like somebody needs to get the patch notes out on this fucking thing. Oh, I hate this. It just rustles the jimmies. It's not exactly what I thought was gonna happen here, but don't like it.
they didn't save 40% of $100,000. They didn't save that $40,000 in tax write-offs. They saved 40% of $20 million in tax write-offs. So effectively,
Also, how many of you want to bet that the appraisers are, when it comes to art stuff like that, are already like bribed? Like, I would not be surprised if it's something that happens. I'm not saying it does. It could allegedly happen. I'm just saying. I've played too many damn video games with too many crimes and spies and other crap in it. That's all I can really say. It's just like, my brain is just like, I am not I am doubting stuff. That's all I'm saying.
They paid $100,000 to get out of paying millions of dollars in taxes. Is that right? I have no idea, but it's absolutely 100% legal. Hobby Lobby decided
Doesn't sound like it should be legal though.
they were going to do the same thing, but instead of buying fine art, they decided that they were going to buy ancient religious artifacts because, well, that's what they're into. They're evangelical Christians. They want to be able to buy all these Christian artifacts as an investment, and then they could donate them to a museum, make sure that those things are then preserved for history, and they get to save millions of dollars in taxes while doing it. It's a win-win as far as they're concerned. So in like 2010, they just start buying up all the biblical artifacts that they can find. They have no experience in buying this stuff. And when you buy something like this, there's like channels and ways that you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to, I don't know, make sure it wasn't fucking stolen from another museum.
Wait. No. No. Ain't no way.
Example. They don't do any of the checks. They were warned that they were going about this the wrong way. They just kept buying up thousands and thousands and thousands of artifacts, despite the fact they bought fucking chunks of the Dead Sea Scroll, which wound up later to be fake because
I was gonna say, the Dead Sea Scrolls, as far as I knew, were like some pretty protected scrolls.
again, they didn't hire the right people to help them do this. And they ended up buying all these cuneiform tablets out of Iraq, including the Dream Tablet, which is part of the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the first human stories ever written down from Mesopotamia 3,500 years ago. Like, it's a pretty important artifact. It's literally like the Ark of the Covenant, Epic of Gilgamesh, and the Rosetta Stone. Like, it's crazy how important this artifact is. And
it's also crazy though, like, it's also crazy though, like, just how much human history is just not written down. It's just, it was passed down by like song or story, etc. And then it wasn't like hand written down or archived per se, but it's like, how much history do we really know is all I'm saying.
they bought it. And oddly enough, it ended up being looted from a museum in Iraq in 2003, and
Really?
they were not supposed to have it.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
So around this point, the government gets
So do I
involved
at
and they
this
start
point,
asking
geez.
questions. At which point, you know, Hobby Lobby kind of pleads ignorant. You know, like, oh, I'm just, you know, a billionaire and I didn't know that I had to go through all these checks and balances to buy this kind of stuff. They basically play it off like, I didn't know any better, my bad. Which, you know what? Maybe, but they shot themselves in the foot because when they imported them into the US, they had them labeled in US Customs as ceramic tile samples, which
Oh, no.
not true. So
There's a lot of companies that do this at the borders for customs and crap when stuff comes through. I don't know how much longer that's going to be going on for, but yeah, I'm just saying, there's a lot of times you'll go order stuff from overseas and it arrive and say birthday gift or some other random nonsense. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just saying it happens an awful lot.
they ended up getting in a shit ton of trouble. They had to return the Epic of Gilgamesh and like 3,000 other artifacts over.
Jeez.
They got returned to Iraq and Egypt, and they had to pay a $3 million fine. But there was a bunch of other artifacts that they did get to keep. And then with those
Like?
artifacts, they had them appraised, and I was able to find that the average appraisal that they got was approximately 3 times what they actually paid for them. And then they
course.
donated them to a museum and got a huge tax write-off. And that is where most people quit digging, because that was enough damning evidence, and most people just care about making Hobby Lobby look bad. I don't care about making Hobby Lobby look bad. I just want to know what the fuck happened. I like facts. I like the truth. So I asked one simple question.
We need the lore. We need the lore. We need the lore, Mr. Electron.
What museum did they donate them to? They donated them to the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C., to which I had...
Wait, there's a Bible museum? Huh. I did not know this. Then again, I'm not like super religious and stuff, but interesting.
One more question. Who owns the Bible Museum?
Wait,
Motherfucking David Green, the same one that owns Hobby Lobby.
wait. How can you donate to yourself? How the hell does that work? Huh?
Do you understand
No, please explain to me.
what I've just told you? Okay, dude literally became a billionaire by selling knickknacks and is like, you know what? I'm into religious artifacts. I'm gonna start a collection because I'm a billionaire and I can do whatever the fuck I want, which, you know what? Good for you. That's great. He starts his little collection and then he's like, you know what'd be cool if I donated these to a museum, but also I'm a collector. Collectors like having their own shit. That's the whole point of collecting something. How can I possibly get a humongous tax write-off and also get to keep all my cool shit? Oh, I know. I'll just own the museum that I'm donating stuff to so I still get to control everything. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's...
This sounds like it should not be legal, but I'm assuming it is.
Absolutely brilliant. So him being super religious is all just an act so he can look like a good guy, but he's actually not. No, that's not what that means at all. It is not hypocritical for a Christian to avoid taxes, okay? At no point in the Bible was Jesus ever like, hey guys, what if we gave the Romans more money? No.
Thou shalt not avoid tax evasion or whatever. I don't know. I can't do the old-timey thing.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not co-signing everything this guy does. I'm just saying
Thou
I'm
shalt not
good at
evade
putting
tax.
myself in other people's shoes to understand their perspective.
I don't know.
And from a very, very Christian man's perspective, being able to give less money to the government so they can, I don't know, buy $60,000 missiles to shoot at people that live in mud huts so he can collect biblical artifacts, put them in a museum, preserve them for everybody else, and share them with the world, hopefully convincing more people to become Christian to save them, is probably a net positive from his point of view. I'm just saying, you can call this guy a lot of things, but you cannot say he's not a legitimate, super devout Christian. Because at the end of the day, for better or worse, he was legitimately willing to close Hobby Lobby down over the Plan B thing.
I have to wonder, though, like... Well, you know what? I'm not going to question anything, because it's just a whole other thing, but it's just like... Dude had a vision, clearly.
And he still gives away 50% of his profits to charity. Now, granted, some of that 50% of profits is him buying cool biblical artifacts and sticking them in his museum. But again, from his perspective, that's a good thing because he's sharing the word of God and trying to, you know, help educate people and preserve it for mankind. Facts are facts, and whether you like it or not, this is 100% legal. And I usually, more often than not, subscribe to the theory of don't hate the player, hate the game.
Dude found cheat codes. I'm curious though, from like just like the archaeological side of things for these relics and whatnot, if they've been like X-ray and all those other kinds of scans that they do on some of the other stuff. Like I know for some of those scrolls, I know the ancient scrolls, they've been using like a new scanning method that's not invasive or damaging them, so they can like scan them from the inside out, then they can basically 3D replicate the scrolls in a 3D model and open them up and view them that way. And that's why that was the last thing I recall them doing, was like these weird X-rays and transferring the X-rays to 3D, basically remaking the models. And I'm sorry for that pause frame again. I'm hitting every single bad one. Everyone.
I need to start a World War II museum, buy a bunch of cool shit, and then donate it to myself and save a bunch of money. Anyway.
Speaking of World War II museums, we have one here. That's all I can say. We have an armory here that's full of World War II memorabilia.
Thanks for watching my knick-knack-induced panic attack. Best way to support the channel is go buy some...
Nick... Okay, I like that. The Warheads on Forehead shirt. It's the old pinup art. I might have to buy one of those. Not gonna lie, I might have to buy one of those.
Merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Why is it ending so much longer?
All right, I gotta go call Brandon Herrera. Definitely not to pitch him a war hero and gun history museum. Okay, bye. Oh, wait, hold on. I actually have an announcement. All right, for 4th of July, I'm giving away a fully decked out Jeep Gladiator. It has absolutely everything. It has 44-inch wide front and rear axles, a 3.5-inch lift, aftermarket shocks, 37-inch tires with a full-size spare in the back, and custom leather interior.
Huh.
Slow down, baby.
All you have to do to get entered to win is head over to Bunker Branding or thefatelectrician.com and buy some Fat Electrician merch. I don't care what it is. Shirts, hats, hoodies, water bottles, rubber ducks, absolutely anything is fair game. For every $5 you spend between June 30th and July 31st, you are automatically going to be entered one time to win this Jeep Gladiator. We're going to announce the winner in August. Now, the downside of all of this is that you're not allowed to do nice things without the government getting their cut too, meaning that if you win this Jeep, it's going to count as taxable income on your tax return, and you're going to have to pay thousands and thousands thousands of dollars, both in sales tax, registration, and this being taxable income on your taxes. So I'm also going to give the winner a check for $10,000 to hopefully cover all of that. It kind of depends on state to state. And of course, it's going to come with an autographed rubber duck.
Nice.
So yeah, go get some Fat Electrician merch over at Bunker Branding or thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. So if you want to give Supremacy World War III a try, it's free, both available on PC and mobile. If you use my link and discount code down below, you're going to get a bunch of extra freebies. I'm going to go find a beer.
Yeah, I did. So this is all, of course, recorded after July 4th, which is fine. But it's like I'm Canadian, so and I don't drive, so it doesn't apply to me. But yeah, neat, cool. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does open a museum at some point in his life, though, of all the stuff that he's done. At least all the stuff that he's covered and whatnot. I would not be surprised if he actually gets a museum going somehow, which would be cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like. I am a fan of museums because, like, yeah, past stuff may seem old and whatnot, but it's also fascinating for different reasons. For at least to me, like, I like to. I have a very mechanical mind, so anything that's mechanical tickles my brain, and I like to look at that and look. I look at something and it's like, all right, how do you work? All right, cool. I kind of figured it out. Yeah, this is how I am. Anyways, yeah, support the original as always, guys. So, like, link will be below. And that's it for me. My cat brain is completely, like, rotted today, so bye.